Listen to me very carefully, because what I'm about to tell you will save you years of heartbreak, confusion, and wasted energy. I've studied human psychology, ancient wisdom, and relationship dynamics for over a decade, and there are 5 specific phrases that when a man says them to you, they reveal his true intentions so clearly that ignoring them is like ignoring a fire alarm in your own house. These aren't just red flags, they're psychological manipulation tactics disguised as normal conversation, and once you hear them, you'll never unhear them. Stay until the very end, because the 5th one is so subtle yet so devastating that 99% of women miss it completely, and it's probably the most important thing you'll learn about protecting your energy this year. Before we dive into these 5 phrases, you need to understand something that will change how you see every interaction with men forever. Most women have been conditioned to give the benefit of the doubt, to see potential instead of reality, to heal instead of protect. This conditioning runs so deep that we've lost our natural instinct to detect emotional predators. And yes, that's exactly what I'm calling them. Emotional predators who use specific language patterns to test your boundaries, lower your standards, and make you question your own worth. The ancient Chinese philosophy of Shi Heng Yi teaches us that words carry energy, and when someone speaks to you, they're not just communicating information, they're transferring their internal state, their intentions, and their level of respect for you directly into your energetic field. This is why certain conversations leave you feeling drained, confused, or questioning yourself, even when you can't pinpoint exactly what went wrong. Your intuition was picking up on the energetic signature of manipulation, but your logical mind was trying to rationalize it away. What I'm about to share with you isn't just relationship advice. It's a form of energetic self-defense that will protect not just your heart, but your entire life trajectory. Because here's what nobody talks about. The man you choose doesn't just affect your romantic life. He affects your career, your friendships, your relationship with your family, your self-esteem, your financial future, and even your physical health. Choose wrong, and you'll spend years of your precious life force trying to heal from the damage. Choose right, or better yet, learn to identify and walk away from the wrong ones immediately, and you create space for something beautiful to enter your life. The first phrase that should make you run, not walk away, is when a man says, "You're too sensitive," or any variation like "you're being dramatic" or "you're overreacting." This phrase is psychological manipulation at its finest because it's designed to make you question your own perception of reality. When a man dismisses your emotional responses as being too much, he's not commenting on your sensitivity, he's revealing his inability to handle a woman who knows her worth and speaks her truth. Here's what's really happening when he says this. He's testing whether you'll abandon your own emotional intelligence to accommodate his comfort. He's seeing if you'll shrink yourself to make him feel bigger. A man who truly cares about you doesn't dismiss your feelings, he gets curious about them. He asks questions, he listens, he tries to understand your perspective even if he doesn't initially agree with it. When a man tells you that your natural emotional responses are wrong or excessive, he's essentially telling you that he values his own comfort more than your authentic self-expression. The most insidious part about this phrase is that it plants a seed of self-doubt that grows over time. You start questioning every emotion, every gut instinct, every moment of intuitive knowing. You begin to monitor yourself constantly, wondering if you're being too much again. This is exactly what emotional predators want. They want you disconnected from your internal guidance system, because your intuition is the one thing that can protect you from their manipulation. Women who have experienced this type of dismissal often find themselves years later having to rebuild their relationship with their own emotions. They've lost touch with what they actually feel because they've been trained to believe their feelings are wrong. This is energetic violence, and it's happening in relationships everywhere because we've normalized it as just how men are. But I'm here to tell you that conscious, evolved men don't operate this way. They understand that a woman's emotional depth is not a bug to be fixed, but a feature to be honored. The second phrase that should send you running is, "I'm just being honest," or "I'm just telling you the truth," especially when it follows a cruel, unnecessary, or deliberately hurtful comment. This phrase is a manipulation tactic designed to make cruelty seem like a virtue. When someone uses honesty as a weapon, they're not being honest, they're being abusive and trying to make you feel grateful for the abuse. Real honesty comes from a place of love and genuine care for the other person's well-being. It's delivered with kindness, compassion, and consideration for timing and context. When a man says something deliberately hurtful and then hides behind the excuse of just being honest, he's revealing that he either lacks empathy entirely or enjoys causing you pain and wants to make it your fault for being hurt by it. I've seen this pattern destroy women's self-esteem systematically. He'll make comments about your appearance, your intelligence, your dreams, your friends, your family, anything that matters to you, and when you express that his words hurt, he'll act like you're the problem for not appreciating his honesty. This creates a psychological trap where you start believing that love means accepting cruelty and that asking for kindness makes you weak or needy. The truth is that a man who loves you will naturally want to build you up, not tear you down. Yes, sometimes difficult conversations need to happen in relationships, but they happen with care, with the intention to strengthen the bond, not to diminish you as a person. When someone consistently uses honesty as an excuse to be cruel, they're showing you that they don't have your best interests at heart. They're more interested in asserting dominance than in creating genuine intimacy. What makes this phrase particularly dangerous is that our culture has conditioned us to value honesty above kindness. So we often feel like we should be grateful when someone is real with us, even when that realness feels like emotional violence. But here's what I want you to understand. You can have both honesty and kindness. In fact, true honesty without compassion isn't honesty at all. It's just cruelty wearing a mask of virtue. The third phrase that should make every alarm bell in your system go off is, "You're being controlling," when you express a boundary, a need, or a concern about his behavior. This is gaslighting in its purest form, and it's designed to make you afraid of advocating for yourself in the relationship. When a man labels your reasonable requests as controlling behavior, he's training you to stop asking for what you need. Let me be crystal clear about what boundaries actually are. They're not controlling, they're not demands, and they're not punishments. Boundaries are simply you communicating what you need to feel safe, respected, and valued in the relationship. When you say things like, "I need you to call when you're going to be late," or "I'm not comfortable with how you spoke to me," or "I need us to have dedicated time together without distractions," you're not being controlling, you're being clear about your standards. A man who responds to your boundaries by calling you controlling is revealing something crucial about his character. He believes his freedom is more important than your peace of mind. He's showing you that he views your needs as obstacles to his convenience, rather than important information about how to love you well. This is not the foundation of a healthy relationship. This is the foundation of a dynamic where you gradually lose yourself trying to avoid being labeled as too much. What happens to women in these situations is heartbreaking. They start shrinking their needs, minimizing their discomfort, and accepting treatment that goes against their values, because they've been convinced that having standards equals being controlling. They begin to pride themselves on being low maintenance and easygoing, not realizing that they're actually abandoning themselves to accommodate someone who doesn't value their well-being. Here's what you need to know. A man who truly loves you wants to know your boundaries because he wants to honor them. He understands that your boundaries aren't limitations on the relationship. They are the framework that allows trust and intimacy to flourish. When you feel safe to express your needs without being labeled or dismissed, you can actually relax into the relationship and show up as your most authentic, loving self. The men who call you controlling for having boundaries are the same men who will take advantage of you if you don't have them. They want access to all of you while giving you the minimum in return. They want the benefits of a committed relationship without the responsibility that comes with genuinely caring for another person's heart. The fourth phrase is perhaps the most subtle but equally destructive. I'm not ready for a relationship, or I don't want anything serious right now. But here's the key. He says this while simultaneously acting like you're in a relationship. He texts you constantly, spends most of his free time with you, introduces you to his friends, maybe even his family, shares intimate details about his life, and creates all the